VJing is the art of syncing live visuals to live music or a DJ.
It's about keeping your eyes amused while your ears are feeling a sensation.
See the big video screens behind the DJs and stuff? That's what I do.
Yeah, it's taken me 4 to 5 years to get to the point that I'm at now, where I'm working with artists performing at fairly renowned festivals. I think a really good comparison to draw between VJing is to look at like the music performance of DJing, where a DJ is using different artists' songs to create his performance. And there's a really strong comparison between sampling, video content off the internet and sampling musical content, potentially off the internet or records as well.
The only thing that the public probably should know about VJing is it's not just a DVD loop or something playing in the background, that there's actually that there's an artist, there's someone creating this for your entertainment.
I think all artistic things, you stick something up on the wall and you hope someone sees it and is invigorated by it. But VJ's kind of, people don't just walk into a gallery, they go to a club or they go to a venue and it's a whole experience, and there's lots and lots of people there potentially.
For me, the audience is definitely a really important part of the process of VJing. I really like to see people's faces and to get a sort of a sense of, oh yes, this magic is actually working on these people. I can see they're starting to take note.
So pre-prep videos, say, on one turntable and the other, then you just... To me, VJing is a visual interpretation of my aural experience. It's creating a vibe, linking the punter with the artist.
I always like to put up things that are entertaining or funny, as well as things that are visually fit the vibe, because if someone sees something funny or a funny cartoon or like a dancing figure on thing, it gets them in the mood. You can kind of set the vibe with VJing.
I think any sense of uniqueness that VJing has probably mainly comes from its newness, because it's something that's only recently come to people's attention. I mean, it's been going on since, look back at Jefferson Airplane, oil light shows in the 60s.
If you take it back to the days of oil lamps and just making pretty colours all over the place, that's still VJing.
Whenever we used to come out to gigs, it was like crates of VHS tapes and people's desktop computers, a monitor under one arm and a desktop box under the other arm. So yeah, it's come a long way, but that's the sort of gear that we were using. I think there's a lot more VJs now because it's so much more solid and more reliable, and whereas back before when it was analog, that kept people away from it, because if they weren't technically inclined, they couldn't get into the artistic side of it. But now it's a much more open field, and it's much more open to people that have really strong creative and content skills, because the technical side of it is so easy now.
You don't go to uni or to school and get taught how to VJ. It's all about sitting there and making mistakes and learning and playing with all these different buttons and sliders inside your programs, and changing windows around in your workflow and figuring out how to best utilize your tool set. Maybe for layer 3 that we're on, I can put on something like this and it will change. So I can control the visuals without touching the computer.
It's something great about having the live, real-time connection with the environment and with your audience. And to be able to understand and to create a connection where people go, they're doing that, they're really doing that. Who's doing that? How are they making that happen? that they realise that that magic that's unfolding around them is actually being done by real people. The best calligraphers that you would see in China who just magically dip the ink in and draw those beautiful characters live on the fly, you know, they've practiced probably thousands of times, and it's the same with video artists who are working that improvisational way. You're responding in the moment, but you've rehearsed so many times.
Today we've got Job doing visuals for me. We had a little bit of difficulty in Brisbane on Friday, but Job, being the clever guy he is, figured out how to fix it, which is fantastic. And so we should be ready to go today here in Newcastle.
So he's had some specific requests for certain songs to play certain clips, and other ones I have creative control to figure out which goes where. I had an experience where I played a Wave Racer show in Newcastle, and the LED screen they had there, the video processor for that wouldn't talk to my computer, and with 10 minutes to troubleshoot it before the performance, it was pretty much impossible.
Losing power is the worst thing that can happen on a night. You know, if you lose a generator blows, you're screwed. You can't do anything. You know, like this gear doesn't run off batteries, so you know you basically, if your power goes down, there's nothing that you can do, and it's completely outside of your hands. You can't do anything about it. The production manager is the one that's going to be running around, you know, losing his head, pulling out the sparkies, getting them to, you know, to fix stuff.
The worst part of it though is when you really want it to go well and you put in so much preparation and you count on other people. You know, you might be counting on other people to do things, you might be counting on other people to make sure that there's clean power, or you might be counting on other people to make sure that you don't have drunk people come and crash into you and pour beer in your laptop, and maybe those things aren't taken care of and you lose out.
Really, when it comes down to it, once you set up, it's just making sure you don't crash, and if you do crash, making sure that you can get back up nice and quickly.
There are lots of things that can go wrong, and that's what you've got to be prepared for as a VJ. Really, the aim is to entertain and just keep people visually amused.
It was just one of those things that when you do it, you know that's what you're meant to do.
Creating something that's like visually engaging and has a really strong, you know, stimulation for an audience really excites me, and when I see that, that's like the best thing.
The biggest compliment I can get as a VJ is seeing people just looking at the screen, you know, and unfortunately that's not quite what we should be doing, you know, like you really want the focus to be on the artist, because that's who's putting out the tunes or whatever. But I think that, you know, for me, the biggest compliment I can get is to look over and just see someone, you know, just not moving and just looking at the screen.
Well, I guess VJing to me is basically creating visual entertainment in real time to music. The key of it is really just being in the moment and creating something that is a direct response or representation of what you're listening to. I guess that's the essence of VJing.
For some reason, I don't know, VJs tend to be some of the like best people I've ever met, other VJs. There's maybe something in the kind of like, it's artistic, but it's geeky, you know, it plays with technology, but it's like all up to how to, you know, paint a canvas. It's just a light canvas. Instead of using a brush, you're using pixels and you're using things you've created or things you've sampled.